Hey, how's it going? I assume by you clicking on this video, you're at least sort of interested in woodworking, but maybe you don't know when or how to start. I'm Sandro from socialwoodworks.com. On today's video, I'm going to go over the tools that I have and also tools that any beginner woodworker may want to have in their arsenal. So stay tuned and we'll get into the video. Alright, welcome back. First off, let me just apologize for my voice. I'm a little under the weather today. I actually have a few projects that I need to get done, but I'm not really feeling like breathing in a lot of sawdust today, so I chose to do an all-talking video with my voice like this. The big thing about beginning as a woodworker is you start small and you either make money by building things that you sell and then you can get more tools that way, or you just use those tools, save up a little money, maybe sell that tool and buy an upgraded version of that tool. So obviously you're not going to have a whole shop full of tools when you start off, and nor do you need one. You could honestly do lots of stuff with just hand tools. It's a little more elbow grease, but lots of people do it and they produce beautiful products that way. With that, let me just get into a few of the tools that I think that any woodworker who's starting off is going to need. Now this is bare minimum, and this is going to be hand tools only, and then we'll get into power tools. Alright guys, hopefully you can see this little display of hand tools that I have out here. This is the bare essentials I think that you need to actually make something. Now there's lots of other hand tools we can add to this that'll increase your productivity and make life a little easier for you, but these are just the bare essentials. First thing you're going to need is a saw. Obviously if you're making something out of wood, you're probably going to want to cut it. Next thing is you're going to need to measure the wood that you're cutting. So I suggest get a tape measure. You're going to need this no matter what. I'd say you're going to need some sort of marking tool or square. You can get a speed square. It's these triangular type here. These work fine. I like this. This is called a combination square. It's adjustable. It's got a 90-degree angle on one side, and it's also got a 45-degree angle on another side. So hammer, if you're going to attach things together, hammer and nails. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Not truly essential. If you got wood glue, you can literally just glue stuff together, but if you got the nails and the hammer and the glue, it's a little more rigidity and strength. And then you'll hear this all the time. Excuse me. My voice is getting worse. You can never have enough clamps. I have at least 50 clamps, and I think I need double that. These are just Harbor Freight 6-inch F-style clamps. These are a Harbor Freight gem. If you have a Harbor Freight near you, or go on harborfreight.com, these are I think $3, and they're because they're so short, they're actually very strong. When you get the longer ones, this metal tends to bow a little bit when you're clamping things together, but the 6-inch ones are really sturdy. I highly recommend those. You do a little research and maybe go to, if you got a flea market near you, you can get all this stuff here for probably less than 20 bucks. So I would suggest looking on Craigslist, flea markets, thrift stores, stuff like that. Get yourself some secondhand tools and start making something. Alright guys, so you've stepped it up a notch and you've bought your hand tools and you're ready to step it up to some power tools. I would say your first tool you should buy is a circular saw. And you can use this to cross-cut wood. You could use this to break down large pieces of sheet goods. You could use this virtually for every piece of wood that you need to cut. If all you could afford is a circular saw, no shame there. This thing will do about 80% of all cuts that you need. Alright guys, next on the arsenal for upgrading to some power tools is a drill. Any kind is fine. As you can see here, I have some Black & Decker lithium 20-volt cordless drill. This thing is pretty awesome. It was very cheap. I want to say I actually bought this with a set that came with like 4 other tools, but the whole set was like 150 bucks. Came with 2 batteries, 2 chargers, drill, a saw, a sawzall. I don't know. Came with a whole pack. But I think just this drill alone you can probably get for about 40 or 50 bucks. They sell it at Walmart. They sell it at, you can get it on Amazon. But you're going to need a drill. You can use this to obviously drill holes. You could use this to drive screws. So a very versatile tool. I suggest that you add one of these to your arsenal if you're able to. Alright guys, next up here you see I have a Craftsman Jig Saw. This is a pretty old model. I think I've had this thing for 10 years. So at some point, if you have a circular saw, you might need to make some curved cuts, and that's what the jig saw is for. It's got a reciprocating blade, a really thin blade, so you're able to, you know, make curved cuts along flat pieces of wood very easily. This is a very versatile tool. You could also combine this with, say, a speed square. Line this up on the wood, put this edge up against the speed square, and you can use this to cut cross-cut boards. You can use it to cut straight as well. So honestly, if you don't want to go the circular saw route, although I do suggest you do that, you can start off with a jigsaw and you could do plenty with this thing. Like I said, you could do cross cuts, you could do curved cuts. Highly recommend, if you're able to, getting a jigsaw. Alright guys, next up is the this one here is a Black & Decker 6-inch Orbital sander. If you're making things and you're cutting wood, you're going to want to sand those edges. Now you can use just a good old sanding block and sandpaper, but this will save you a ton of time. I like the Orbital sander. If you're going to get a sander, I suggest getting one of these first. There's several types of sanders out there, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Alright guys, as we're stepping up through the power tools list, I have here a router. This is a super versatile machine. This particular one is not a plunge router. If you have the money, or if you find a good deal on a plunge router, I suggest getting one of those first. If you're familiar with a router, there's different bits that you could put on this thing, and it allows you to make edges nice and curved, like decorative, like a crown molding. It also allows you to make dados, mortises, all sorts of things. Very versatile tool. Alright guys, now let's talk about upgrades. Now the power tools, I said your essential thing that you probably want to buy first is a circular saw. Totally still stand by that. If you're able to upgrade, however, my #1 most used tool in my shop is my table saw. You can get these for super cheap. This particular one is not the best saw by any means. It's actually an old model Black & Decker, but it was kept in very good shape. I found it on Craigslist. I think I paid $100 for it. Best upgrade you can do if you can afford it, look around, get yourself a table saw. You'll really, really thank yourself for doing that. Alright guys, so the next upgrade I would suggest is a chop saw or a miter saw. This one is a sliding compound 10-inch miter saw. This is an awesome upgrade. If you don't want to get a table saw yet, you want to get a chop saw to use it for cross cutting, depending on what you want to build. This thing is awesome for cross cutting. It's a compound, so you can turn it to different angles and cut whatever angles you need to cut, and makes quick work of cutting through dimensional lumber like 2x4s, 2x6s and whatnot. Alright guys, so the next upgrade I want to talk about is the bandsaw. If you already have a jigsaw and you're used to cutting curved pieces with that handheld jigsaw, this will be a nice upgrade from that. Again, I don't have a big 14-inch bandsaw like most wood shops I see online have. This is just a Craftsman 10-inch bandsaw. It works perfect for my needs. It fits nicely in my shop, and it's a real nice gem to have in your shop if you need to make curved cuts. You can resaw wood with this thing. It's only got a 4-inch capacity on this particular model. Alright, so this next part is kind of a twofold part. As I said before, you're going to want a drill, a power drill of some sort if you're going with power tools. One of the upgrades I suggest is getting yourself a cordless driver drill. So this thing is an impact driver. It uses the same batteries as all my other power tools. This is also a Black & Decker lithium 20-volt impact driver. And if you're not familiar with these, it basically drives in screws, and it has an impact action where it actually kind of hammers. So it allows you to drill screws or screw screws into wood with that impact motion, and it doesn't usually strip the screws depending on what kind of a end you have on here. But and I particularly like this model This is the Black & Decker Matrix. Again, you kind of want to think about these things when you're upgrading your tools. I thought about that. I know Black & Decker maybe not be the most sought after brand, but I honestly love all the tools I bought from them before. Even my old, I have this old half-horse corded drill. It's Black & Decker. I'm not really sure why I ended up with all these Black & Decker tools. It actually wasn't planned that way, but I just kind of liked their line of tools. They've come a long way. They're actually really rugged. This Matrix, again, very rugged, but the thing I like about it is that it has removable pieces. So this is the impact driver attachment. I also have the jigsaw attachment, and that just goes right on there. Now it's a jigsaw. So there's several different tools that this thing could turn into, all with the same motor and battery system. So the second part of this is a drill press. You can drill everything you need with a handheld power drill, but I got this one again on Craigslist, and I paid about 40 bucks for this. It's not in the best shape, but I actually got some of the rust off it, oiled up the parts. But this thing works perfect for what I need it for. It's only an 8-inch drill press, so it's not the biggest, but it's a great upgrade if you're needing to do repetitive holes or repetitive cutouts or whatever. It's nice to have a drill press. I almost forgot two other things I wanted to mention. First is about sanders. If you're looking to upgrade your arsenal some more, there's different types of sanders. As you can see here, I have the Black & Decker Mouse, and it's got this sort of an iron-shaped pad on it. It's actually really nice for getting into small corners and doing some finer detail sanding. I also have this larger random orbit sander by Bosch. It's also a 6-inch random orbit sander. This one's just a little better model than the first one I showed you. That one's kind of an entry-level model. It doesn't have adjustable speed. This one does have adjustable speed and some other cool features. So you can look into getting something like that. Also, a belt sander. This is great if you need to remove a lot of material. If you're making cutting boards or gluing panel boards together, and you don't have a jointer or a belt sander, or a drum sander I should say. Belt sander is a great addition in your sander arsenal to have. Removes lots of material. It's loud and messy, but gets the job done. Alright, so before I forget, upgrades on routers. A couple different things. You can get what's called a trim router, and this is just a smaller version of this guy, but it's mainly used for trimming out pieces, cutting laminate, flush mount with whatever you're working with. Another thing with the regular router, you can get a router table, or you can actually make your own. If you want to look up YouTube videos on that, you can do that. But you can get yourself a router table, and this thing actually mounts upside down in the router table, and it's got this nice surface with a fence, and you could run your boards along the cutting blade with the router table, and again, it just adds additional versatility to this tool. I've been doing woodworking for many years, and I've acquired these tools over those many years. So obviously, like I said in the beginning, you're not going to start off with a whole truckload of tools. If you have the passion about woodworking like I do, I hope that you're encouraged to just get out there and start making something. Like I said, do your research. Craigslist, eBay, Amazon, all those places are good places to find tools. If you want more information on any of the tools that I listed, down in the description below, I've listed a bunch of links to where you could check out specs on different tools, read reviews. Just do your due diligence before you purchase a tool. That way you know what you're getting into. Guys, thanks for hanging in there. I know it was a lot of rambling and there's a lot of information to process. If you're interested in woodworking, don't let tools be what's setting you back. Honestly, like I said, you can grab a saw, a nail, a couple of nails and a hammer, and you can make something. If you got something in your head that you want to build, don't let the lack of tools be your setback. Until then, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.